honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Muhammad Hamza Al-Husseini, the Counselor to the Secretary General of the United Nations in Egypt. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight.
My pleasure, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine. And we were speaking about the role of Egypt in Africa, the role of the other entities, the other institutions and the other countries in Africa, like the European Union, like neighboring countries, for example, and their growing influence in the African continent through investments, through diplomacy, through politics. On the other hand, how do you think Egypt is faring within all those contacts, more specifically for investments and diplomacy? Because President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, as you mentioned, was in Tanzania in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Tanzanian president today, meeting with the president from Madagascar, and one of the more important topics that he had tackled on both occasions is the possibility of having Egyptian investments into the African continent.
Let's put it like that. What you can give to, I will not talk about a specific country, but I will take the whole continent as in Africa. What you can give to them. When you talk about it, and when I start our conversation, I say that we had a map. That map we divided by the north and the middle, east and west and south of Africa. We work in this map in a diplomat. In the beginning, that there was a huge challenges that facing our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because there was a countries. Because, you know, after the revolution, that there is a lot of countries, they don't want to deal with Egypt. So imagine that they stopped you when we had our revolution. They stopped you of having the chair in the African Union. They stopped to listen to why we as an Egyptian make this revolution, why we refuse this regime who tried to control our freedom, who tried to control everything we had. And then we try to change this. So when we tried to make the change, the other hands, I will call it hands,
yes, was
trying to make Egypt more weaker with Africa. Because if you wanted to divide a country, if you wanted to invade a country, if you wanted to beat a country, as Iran, for example. This war in Iran, why the United States had made the war? For three major points.
Yes.
First thing is changing the regime. But they didn't. Why? Because you cannot change a regime by killing the head of the state. You cannot change a regime by bombing the country. If you wanted to change a regime, make this regime and this country rejected from the international community, number one. Number two, make this regime and this country divided from inside. That will be the only way for you to control it. But they didn't succeed with Iran.
Yes.
Same when we had it in 2013 and we make as an Egyptian our second revolution, the African Union and some of the African countries, they reject and they deal with us with a powerful message of rejection. This look like, you know, when me and you have an argument, but we are friends.
Yes.
You will have this kind of giving me a time to explain myself if we have an argument. But if you don't like me and we look like neighbors, but you wanted to say to me that no, you are not better than me, and this is how exactly it was in the last 40 years. So the African countries didn't deal with us as a neighbor country and the strongest country in Africa. No, they looked.
But all of this has changed after the revolution under President
How
Sisi.
it's changed?
Yes.
For us to say how we regained this to the people who's watching us from outside.
At least for 70%.
Egypt, yes.
We still have 30%.
Of course, for the 70%. How he did that? He deal with an intelligent way in re-representing the vision of us. We don't pay the bills of the previous administrations. Yes. No, we will put a new roadmap in how we will develop the friendship and the brotherhood between all of us. And this has happened when we take the chair as the leader of the African Union, when they accepted us, because they find that this administration is a decent and respectable administration, respecting us. This is number one. Number two, opening the hand of corporation. And number three, sharing whatever development they are doing. And you need to understand that a lot of African countries was watching you in the last 10 years. What did you do about this mega project? How you changed the full infrastructure of Egypt? Because our situation 11 years ago was the same to a lot of African countries. Our roads, our tunnels, our whole system of infrastructure was not that good.
Yes.
But what we did is we changed this. So they are looking that there is a country in Africa have succeed. How they did that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, okay, now they are opening for us a hand of cooperation. So let's share with them the experience. Let's share with them and open our countries. I'm talking about the African countries.
Yes.
To them, companies to come to us as an investors and help us in the development. So this is number one. Number two, Egypt have taken a good position now when we are talking about the digital transformation. So for you that everything now in Egypt is going to compete with other countries in your region, those African countries, which is our brothers, they look to you, how did you take these steps? How you go in this stage? You go in this stage by partnering Asian and European and American companies. They come to you, then you develop your youth, and then you start to make a new system of the automation to the whole country. Now you are sharing them. That's why in each corporation, MOU you do with any African country, you take with you the Ministry of Transportation and Roading, and the second is the Ministry of Telecommunication.
Yes.
Because in 2026, the time now, it's not as how it was 30 years ago. Everything now is everything is online, everything is powered by the AI, the artificial intelligence,
yes,
powered by the solutions, powered by everything is now. And that's why we have developed this in our country. So you are sharing with them this. So it's look like a win-to-win situation. Of course, I know what inside you that you want to develop this relation, and we will open it and come to help us and let your investors come. Some of the African countries, we was not allowed to have the visa as an Egyptian. But now, most of the African countries have opened to us. All the Egyptian banks before, they don't have, look like, a representative offices there. Now there is a lot of representative office of Al-Ahli Bank, or a lot of banks from the Egyptian banks in the whole Africa. Most of the group of companies to us, when we go there, we had a problem because the political systems was not stable and stuff like that. But now, no, when you go there, you have the security, you have everything, and they open to you all the interest to invest more in them countries. And our Egyptian companies, by God willing, have succeeded in the last 10 years, and we have upgraded the import and export, which is the free trade between us and those countries. That's why the African countries have benefit from this cooperation. So when you go to other country, because you have a map,
yes,
you succeed with the 70%. How you succeed with them? You come, you respect them, you tell them that without you, we cannot be strong. By the two of us, we can be strong.
Mutual benefits.
Mutual benefits. Win-to-win situation, of course, because we want we want Africa to be strong. This is Egypt. Egypt don't want Africa to be weak. That look like the others. The others want Africa to be divided and weak. Egypt don't ever send this message. Egypt always say Africa need to be united. Africa need to be strong. African countries need to have its freedom and its own national decisions. That's what we do. So we succeed in those. The other countries, we having it in the next 2 years. I can tell you by 2030, Egypt will regain its position as how it was and more better with the African continent 100% by 2030.
You've mentioned a number of important points, Dr. Mohammed, regarding the Egyptian bilateral ties with the rest of Africa. One of them is the possibility of having an African free continental trade area in the future, because you mentioned that some Egyptians were not even permitted the entry beforehand. Nowadays, most of Africa is open to each other. It is open for the rest of the African nationals. So this is an opportunity for the economy to grow, to be implementing the African continental free trade area for the future.
Yes, and let's put it like that. Egypt, when our administration, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, go to Europe, when he go to Asia, even when he go to the Americans, and then when he go there and start to invite them to come and invest in Egypt, he don't say, President Sisi didn't ever say, come and invest in Egypt for Egypt. No, he always say, come and invest in Egypt because Egypt is your gate to Africa. He always say that. And the African leaders, they know this man, he's a decent man, he always seek security and stability for them. So returning back to the free trade, imagine that, how many investors come to Egypt and open a companies and start to make the visibility studies of them, and then they start to enter the African market. When you talk to any investor, before 2 days I had a phone call with one of my good friends. He's an Indian investor in the telecommunication, and I'm inviting him to come and invest in Egypt. He is building data centers and solutions and stuff like that. So when I approach him, because this is one of my job, is to invite investors to invest in Egypt. When I'm approaching him, I'm telling him, you come, make your company, you will have all the benefit from our government now, because as an officials in the governments, we support the investors to come and invest in our country.
Is it easier now?
It's more easy now than before. The last 10 years, Egypt changed 100%. Egypt before 2013 was a country, I can say it, and I say it in Nile TV 11 years ago. I'm coming to this channel now over than 12 years. And I say it in the beginning, Egypt was a sleeping giant. And this administration have did what? This administration have taken, I can say, a brave decision in transforming and developing this country. Why? If you go to the GCC countries, for example, that's a countries, rich countries, they have their own natural resources. That's why they build their own countries and they compete with the first world countries because they have the money, they have the cash, they have the resources. So they make them countries amazing, and this is one of the things that we thank God that we have them as the brothers, because if they are strong, we are also strong. But in Egypt, for you to restructure this country, which is already, when you take it in 2030, after 2 revolutions, and for a long 4 years that this country, after the 1973 war up to 1981, and changing our system from from a country that fighting to have its land back, we got our land by 1981. And after that, you start to build, but you didn't build as how it's supposed to be. And in this time, when you look to the last 4 years before 2013, you don't have that decision that you will say, I will make an economical reform, I will make a mega project, I will change the whole infrastructure of this government and this country. No. You make this country as a sleeping giant. You get aids from your neighbors and brothers. You get loans. You get, let's say, deposits in your banks, and then you don't do anything.
You didn't have the vision, the strategy yet.
There is no vision. There is no vision before. The vision before is Egypt to be as how it is.
But now?
But now, no. 2013, when President Sisi make the start of the development happen in the forum Egypt the Future, when we do it in 2015. Egypt the Future, this forum in Sharm el-Sheikh, President Sisi say, the next 10 years, this country, whatever we say now, we will do. That's why we make over than 11,000 mega projects in all the fields, in all the sectors, the industrial, agriculture, service, the government, the import and export, the free trade. Egypt didn't leave a sector and a section until we develop it. And the investors is looking to us now and listening to us, and I have a lot of followers, investors worldwide. When I talk to them, I'm telling them, don't listen to me, just come and see Egypt now.
Yes.
Go in Al-Alamein, go in the new administrative city, go to the government itself and deal with the officials. When you go to deal with the officials in Ministry of Investment, Ministry of Industry, in any ministry, before it was look like it will be your horrible day to deal with them. But now you have the one window, you go and you meet an official, he will welcome you, and then he will finish whatever you want in a piece of paper with a shortage time of executing whatever transaction you have.
Yes.
As an investor, why you will come to Egypt? The safest country in the Middle East, Egypt. Number two, the country is giving all the opportunities to all the investors in all the sectors. Number three, the country now is giving you the land, reducing your taxes in the first 5 years, reducing your time of execution, your business, securing, entering your capital, and bringing out your profit. And this is was one of the biggest problems to all the investors worldwide.
Yes.
Why? When I had a meeting before 3 weeks with one of the Saudi investors, one of my friend of mine, he was saying to me, my problem is if I come to invest in Egypt is, okay, I will put the capital of investment, but I cannot bring my profits out. I told him that was before. You come, open your bank account, start, and you can have even the golden license. He said, what is the golden license? I told him the golden license, this is a license from the Prime Minister himself. Will execute whatever you have as a situation in the government, and then it will open to you all the gates to the government. You can go to any ministry and work and cooperate with them. They are opening to anyone. And you can go to the national tender platform and see whatever projects we have, and then you can contribute. And he say, so what is the assurance that if I put my capital by dollar, I can bring out any time? I told him, this is an article in the Ministry of Investment website.
Yes.
And he read it while I'm sitting. And I told him, this is some successful stories of some investors. They come in the last 5 years and they gain profits, and the ROI, we are not talking about 5 or 7%, we are talking about over 45%.
In a year?
In a year.
In a year.
In some sectors here in Egypt. Yeah, I have investors, friends, they come and they didn't imagine that. They go in the properties and the real estate, and then they make a lot of development projects, and then some of them make smart cities, some of them make data centers, and then when they find that this population, this 120 million person, and this companies and this huge market, and the Africa and the GCC and the Middle East, we are in the center of the world. And then some of them go to the economical zone in Suez Canal, and then they find how they are treating them. It's look like Dubai. The economical zone in Suez Canal, it's look like Jabal Ali in Dubai now. So in all this, and the country is open for projects, because you as an investor,
Yes.
when you make look like a visibility study about the region, you will not go to GCC now. No way. If you are in GCC now, you will go to Singapore, or you will go to Hong Kong or China, or you will come to Egypt. Why? Because the conflict is happening now in the GCC based of Iran war. But when you are coming to Egypt, and then you find the government, and we have a new minister of industry, he is now putting all the benefits. He is making everything for the investors in the industrial sector. He is telling you, come and take land.
Yes.
Go in the online platform. Don't deal with people. Just deal with our platform. You will find the land. You can go finish your paperwork. Come. If you want fund by our banks, we can support you. We will reduce your taxes and fees in the first 5 years. You can use whatever we have in the export authority in exporting your goods to Africa and to the whole world by the Suez Canal. So imagine that this message now the investors is reading. Why? Because of the conflict happened? No. Because of this administration in the last 10 years when they transform this country from a sleeping giant to a waking giant in the investment, in the political, in the diplomat relation, in the humanitarian, and you see that Egypt, when President Fattah al-Sisi go to the European Union, why all of them respect this man and why all of them stand to him? Because this man, he closes the gates of North Africa from the refugees. Was
illegal
coming.
migration.
Of course, the illegal migration was, see what happened to Merkel and in Europe, the disasters that they face in the last 10 years. Because Egypt helped the European countries for no illegal immigrant will take the seas. We will close it. And we will cooperate with Libya to close its seas. So we secure Europe. That's why, and we take this bill. We have over than 10 million. President Sisi called them as our guests, which is the refugees. They are sitting here.
Yes.
From all the countries that are having a conflict, look like in Yemen, in Syria, some countries in Africa, and they are with us. We are dealing with them as the brothers in one country. We
About
don't deal
10 million.
10 million, which is a huge number to a country like Egypt is developing now, because when you look in Europe, those countries there is no development. They already developed 100 years ago. When you look to the GCC, no develop now because they already developed. They already make all the economical reforms, so they are gaining what they are doing. But Egypt and Africa, where is the development is happening? We still need...
It's our time now.
Of course.
Yes.
And we still need more than 20 years to develop our country. We have did a development in the last 10 years by 40%. And the vision of our president is, there is no limit. It's an unlimited vision. He wants this country, each square meter of this country to be developed.
This development in the field of infrastructure, Dr. Mohammed, because you mentioned that infrastructure is not just benefiting the Egyptians, it could be benefiting the Africans as well, benefiting the investors who are having the idea of potentially investing here in the country. How did you see the importance of investing for us, the Egyptians, by the political leadership in infrastructure, not just building the roads, the bridges, the new capitals, the more than 20 cities here in Egypt, but in terms of the artificial intelligence and the digital infrastructure for the benefit, as I mentioned, not just for Egypt, but for the rest of the world? That's
a very smart question.
Thank you.
I can say that, or I can call that, what happened in the last 10 years by President Fattah al-Sisi, and we are talking about the youth. This is number one.
Yes.
What he did to the youth, he is the only president in the whole history, in the whole world, announced there is a youth forum. Started from this country. We are the only country in the planet have made a youth forum. In Sharm el-Sheikh, we started that forum, and it became annual forum for the youth. And we combine the youth from the whole world. They come to our country. And then we share the experience with them. Those youth, young men and women, when they come to our country, they share with our youth what they have cooperated, what they have achieved, and then we also share with them. So you made a platform. It's not just a forum. You made a platform, and you combine the whole youth together. And those youth is the ambassadors of them countries worldwide.
Yes.
Because let's say that the new generation is not talking the language of me and you. The new generation, they have their own language, what they call them the Gen Z. They have this kind of communication. They have this kind of community that we don't know the secret of that, but we see how they are connected so easy. For us before, we are an old school now, before when we want to communicate with anyone, we travel and we do a lot of effort, but for them it's just one application, they are all together. So imagine that they see your president as the only leader in the planet who connect the whole youth together. So our youth taking out from the youth forum, from its first version up to now, every year, we have shared together a lot of let's say, external platforms. There is look like the B2B platform, the startup platform, the franchisor platform. That was happen all in Egypt. And those companies have make a corporation with other companies, because now you can be partner with a company in China and you don't need to go there.
Yes.
They don't need to come to you. Everything is online. So you sign the corporation, you transfer the fund, you make whatever you have, you attend the tender, you have a project, and then you start, and everything is online. And this generation, they know that. So now, in the last 10 years, when you talk about the development in the automation and the transformation and the digital community, Egypt have taken a place because of the Youth Forum. This is number one. Number two, changing the infrastructure of the internet, of the whole system of transformation with the Ministry of Telecommunication and MCIT, the Ministry of Telecommunication, having a big position now worldwide. And the companies, we have it here in the new administrative city, here in the smart village. We have the biggest companies, and the biggest companies will not come to you if you don't have this kind of infrastructure that they will compete, and then they will export them technology to Africa. And that's what happened in the last 10 years. Why? Because you changed the law of investment. This was one of the most critical problem that we had when we started the economic reform in 2013. Because in 2013 you don't have an article in the Ministry of Investment or a law that to secure the investors when he come to Egypt.
Yes.
But the first thing you did when you started saying, I will make an economic reformer to Egypt in 2013, and this economic reform is the first stages announcing the new investment law. Investment law make the investors come and they are secure. Number two, you change the infrastructure. Number three, you open for them markets. Number four, you make the Sami government and the medium enterprise cooperate with other companies. As I was just saying, that I have my dear friend from India, he is coming to invest in the solution. Why he will come? Because he heard, and a lot of people like myself, we are promoting our country. So you build up and change your system and develop it, so the investors look to you. And one of the other things is your ROI percentage is totally different from any other place. And any country having an economic reform, any country developing its economy, any company opening the gates of a new investment era, this is where the investors is looking. And this is what we need to work more in the next 4 years.
Yes, and hopefully we will be doing that in the next 4 to 5 years. Dr. Mohammed Hamza Al Husseini, the Counselor to the Secretary General of the United Nations in Egypt. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And this brings us to the end of the Nile Oracle for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.